What's good, y'all?
Oh, no.
We live
Oh, no.
with your podcast watching head ass.
Oh, Jesus.
That's pretty good, wasn't it?
It was awful.
Chris Edmond, Travis Raltz, we are live from Midcoast Studio in Grand Center, St. Louis, Missouri.
I was going to say Studio City, California.
Hey, wouldn't that be nice?
That would be cool.
For another day. Right now, Chris Gardner, he books he only books the top talent.
This is going to be good.
I booked Tone Bell and Tim Meadows today. Gardner, who you got?
For this show?
What other show would it be? Mental Health Matters, the Static Podcast.
Yeah, John Henry for Mental Health Matters. And,
Oh, you did. That was you?
Tone Bell for.
No, I just
Stacey
claimed
Stack.
Tone Bell.
Nice.
Except for this show.
Oh, for Stacey.
Nice.
All right, you got me.
I got you a Game of Thrones fan.
Oh, boy. And you're going to bring
A
us
noob.
a noob.
Game of Thrones.
Recently caught up, big-time fan, and he also writes some really good things about the St. Louis Cardinals. We're going to do something that's never been done on this show before.
Do we need to call Tech Electronics?
Here we go. Hold on to your butts,
hold on,
boys and
hold on,
girls.
hold on,
Okay, hold on. I
hold
want to
on,
make sure I set this up correctly.
I wore a suit jacket for this. Don't screw it up.
He has a blue check mark. He's young. I don't think he can grow facial hair. He's tried.
How's the hair, though?
But the hair is great. Joining us live for the first time from the future, Brendan Schaefer. Oh, my God! Okay, let's see if we can hear him. Hey, can you hear us?
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Oh.
Is it working? Are we good?
You have to figure out. Oh,
I got
all
nothing.
right. Hold on, Schaefer.
Wait,
This is
wait,
great.
wait,
Hold on, hold on.
Oh,
Chris
Try it
Gardner.
one more time.
Here we go.
Tech.
Now.
What up, Shafe?
okay.
Oh! They
Hey!
hear each other.
Hey, quick question. Do you guys make a habit of ripping your guests before bringing
Yes.
them on, or is that
Yes.
just a...
Yeah,
How does that work?
I hosted comedy last night and walked a table before the comics even started. So there you go. That's how that happens.
Wonderful.
Brendan
It's
Schaefer.
great to see you guys. This is really cool. Wow. What a setup you guys have. Woo! Man.
He moves to Texas and he gets a little bit sassier. I don't know if I like this new Schaefer.
Dude, the
I like that shirt.
the locks are looking almost as good as your Carte Blanche T-shirt.
Yeah, man. The hair is it's not going away anytime soon. I went with the hat because I didn't want to deal with it this morning, but you can tell it's still making its way.
You look beautiful.
All right.
Oh, thank you.
This is getting a little strange. Are you growing out your hair for the Game of Thrones return this Sunday to look like a wildling?
Or Khaleesi. You look like a Khaleesi.
Kinda little Khaleesi in you?
look
Yeah.
Khaleesi-esque.
You guys won't believe this because you mentioned the facial hair thing and how I can't grow it. But when I was in New Orleans last week at a bar, someone told me I looked like Jon Snow.
Oh, you.
Get out.
Oh, he took a drink.
No way.
He took
No
it.
way.
You guys are about the same size, so that works. I'm all right with that. I think you're a good Jon
I took
Snow.
it as a compliment.
Yeah.
He's a handsome man.
They'd compare me to Hodor, so I'll take the Jon
Oh,
Snow
I just
comparison,
saw that episode last night.
Let's talk about
Hold the
this
door.
because
Yeah.
you
Oh,
you publicly announced to the world a few months ago that you had not seen Game of Thrones, and you have live tweeted about catching up on Game of Thrones, which has been entertaining for me to watch because because it's basically you go back in time and you know your reaction from certain episodes, and now you get to see a newcomer have those same reactions. What finally convinced you to sit down and binge watch Game of Thrones?
Well, the reason for so long that I hadn't gone ahead and done it is because I never had HBO.
Gotcha.
And so it was not easily accessible. But when I kept hearing, I think the new trailer dropped actually. That might have been early March or so.
Right.
And it was a pretty extensive trailer. And I was like, man, everybody's into this. I want to be cool like everybody else. So I just tweeted out like, man, I've never seen Game of Thrones. What a bummer. Like, I'd like to start it. I just don't know how. And that was kind of my cry for help.
Right.
And
good of you to put yourself
somebody
out there.
messaged me like, hey, here's how to do it. Here's my password. I'll hook you up. And so it worked just as planned. And I've been catching up ever since. I've got 12 episodes to go. And I've got
nice.
2.5 days to do it. I'm convinced I'm going to make it, though.
It is.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. That's a lot of emotions
Yeah.
as well. I'm very curious. So what was the episode that hooked you? Do you recall that moment or the episode that made you
process
realize
to get you there.
Oh, nope. What made you realize that, oh, hey, I get the hype?
When it comes to catching up on a TV show that is really popular and has been around for a long time, and not even just TV shows, I kind of did the same thing with Star Wars. Hadn't seen them and then watched a bunch of them in a row. When I make my mind up that I'm going to do it, I'm pretty well going to do it regardless of how much I'm enjoying it. But I mean, look, I really like the first episode. Kid gets pushed out of a window, watching the incest going on. Like, how can it get better than that? But it has gotten better than that.
Yes.
And it's been awesome.
Yes.
Gardner, you see what you're missing?
Yeah.
I think one of the things that is fascinating about this series is that you find yourself shifting alliances, your emotions as well begin to shift. Was there an emotional death that got to you the most? What particular moment at this point had you like, oh man, I can't believe they did that?
Man, the Hodor thing was a mind blower, and that's really fresh right now because that's the most recent one.
That hurt, man. That hurt. That one
Emotional.
hurt. Ooh, that was emotional.
That was bad, and I guess we can talk freely here. Everybody knows we're going to spoil it if you haven't seen it.
If it's too late, it's too late.
Yeah, I mean that might be number one for me. Like Jon Snow dying was tough, but it was okay because like he was back shortly thereafter, so that wasn't so bad. But I mean, it's just the series is a bloodbath, man. You can't get attached to anybody because they're probably going to go. And like when the whole Tyrion thing was happening, he was getting blamed for something he didn't do. I was like, man, I don't know if I'll be able to go on if they take him because he's probably my number one right now, and that could change. There's still time, but he is a delight.
My complaint would be that we're ruined on every other series now because nobody's going to take the chances and the production value that they bring to it, and you just can't compare. This has been a 10-year movie basically.
Yeah, and that's why I was really wanting to. If I was going to get into it, I wanted to be able to enjoy the last season live, and so it was ambitious to say in a month and a half I was going to cover the thing, but I'm almost there, so I think I can make it.
Our grandfathers built railroads when they got bored and farms and all these things, and we're legitimately proud of you for binge watching a fantasy game, a fantasy TV show.
And I'm calling it ambitious, like I'm some hero.
Did you ever know that you're my hero?
Is there a particular Game of Thrones character that you relate to the most, that you have related to the most, that you say, oh, I can see myself being in that person?
Oh, I'm Podrick for sure, man.
Ah.
Now that's gonna sound braggadocious.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
boom. What up, Shane?
Oh, wow.
Put it out there.
Okay,
wait,
wow.
wait,
Pleasing
wait,
all the
wait.
ladies of Westeros. Okay,
That's
continue.
not how I meant it. That's not how I meant it.
Yeah, right. Who's got the biggest dong?
That's such a barstool answer, Shave. Yeah, the guy with the biggest crotch.
No, I'm thinking more recently. Like I'm watching his journey with Brienne of Tarth, and he's kind of growing into himself. A young lad.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, I'm in Texas. He's like, I don't have to stay connected to this.
Shape, let's switch gears though a little bit here. It's been a while.
Do you want to bite his ear?
I do not. I'm going to bend your ear about those St. Louis Cardinals.
Oh, come
they,
on.
nice little homestand after a rough patch. The Redbirds are top of the division or nearing the top of the division. What are your thoughts on the sweep of the Dodgers in the first couple of weeks of the season?
Man, they're soaring. They're finally soaring. The first week, not so much. And they've got to go back to Milwaukee soon after they go to Mexico here this weekend. And so that could be interesting because Christian Yelich gave them a lot of problems. But, people were freaking out about the pitching during that series. And I actually did get to cover that one. And it was like a home run derby.
It was.
Balls were flying for both sides. And so I wasn't getting too bent out of shape about the pitching not doing so well there. Since then, we've seen the bullpen especially really start to put it together. And when the Dodgers came into this series, a 4-gamer in St. Louis, they were averaging 8.4 runs per game. And the Cardinals, for the most part, Walker struggled yesterday, but they shut him down out of the bullpen. And to take all 4 games against a team that was looking as good as the Dodgers were, I think that brings the Cardinals back to kind of where you expected them to be after a bad start. They maybe overachieve a little bit in that series. But I think the really cool part, if you're a Cardinals fan, is you look at all the things that aren't going well yet that you can expect to do so going forward. Like Goldschmidt is still hitting 190. I know he's got the power, but he's not really put it all together yet consistently. Right. And I think you're going to see some other guys kind of do the same thing. Ozuna, has been an adventure all the way around, but he's still hitting a home run here or there. If he feels like his shoulder can get healthy and put it together, as long as the bullpen keeps doing what it's doing, which I think the biggest surprise most pleasantly has been John Gant and the way they've been able to use him, in as many games as they want to for multiple innings at a time. If his arm holds up and he can be another late inning weapon, that's going to be really positive. And so I think when you look at where the Cardinals are, it's really just positive all the way around because, when you get into a season, you talk all season about what they've done, what they didn't do. And then when you finally start it, if they really fall flat, that could be a disappointment. But 2 weeks in, they're right where you'd hope they would be. And I think good things are to come for sure.
Do you feel like the comical parts of Ozuna's defensive blunders are warranted? Like, are we going to see more of that, or do you think he's just going to kind of steadily improve? I'll take that. Anytime I can see Joe Kelly lose his ish, I'm into it. And if that's at Marcell Ozuna's peril, that's how it is.
Here's what's bad about that, though, because you saw the next night there were 2 balls that would have or could have been caught over the wall had the player just done exactly what Ozuna did the night before, but they were like afraid to do it. I think it's a full-on conspiracy. Like Dexter Fowler would have been on SportsCenter had Ozuna not done it the night before, because that ball was 2 feet over the wall. He climbs it. He makes an amazing catch, but he was afraid to do it because he knows exactly what social media and what everybody would do. And so Ozuna then later on in that game had one as well. So I'm just worried about his ability to rob home runs at this point because I think they're going to be kind of sore after the Ozuna thing. He got beat pretty hard for that one.
Brennan, you do a great job at covering the St. Louis Cardinals, and you have a fun following on Twitter. What have been some of the weirdest interactions with fans in regards
sports fans get real into
especially in St. Louis, especially when it comes to the Cardinals? And I've kind of peeked from time to time at some of the interactions you've had with a few of these fine folks, but what has been the weirdest or the most insane interaction with a potential B-fibber when discussing the St. Louis Cardinals?
Like, I get a lot of weird stuff, and I typically almost always enjoy it because I can kind of throw it back and have fun with it. There was one over the winter where I was debating Matt Carpenter back and forth with a guy whose account said John Mozeliak or something. Like, clearly I'm not talking to the prez of baseball ops on that one, but just like, I try not to yell at the trolls, but sometimes I just lose my mind on it. And so that happened once, but without a doubt, the most comical thing that has happened. You know how I am with the poll questions. Right. I like these. I like to mix it up a little bit. And there was one guy who had it's not an egg anymore. It's just like a blank Twitter avatar profile face.
Always a good sign.
And I'm going to give him a shout out here because he still follows me. I still interact with him, which is hilarious after this. His name's Douglas. And I posted a poll, and I guess the Cardinals weren't doing so hot. Maybe frustrations were running high. And his reply to my poll was, "I'm waiting for the poll that gives an option to kick you in the balls. Nice. Please provide this option." And I'd never seen this guy before. I had no idea who he was. And so I busted out laughing. Like, a lot of times you might think, oh, that's not very nice. But just the phrasing and the fact that it was an egg profile I had never interacted before, I lost it. Yes. And I retweeted it, and I thought, man, that I appreciate your enthusiasm. And so at that point, and the guy's name is Douglas, mind you. And so then Charlie Marlowe retweets it and says, "I stand with Douglas." I said, well, that's a change, considering his relationship with Doug Vaughn. And so that's my favorite one that I can remember. It was pretty good.
Nothing like someone that you consider a colleague standing with your troll.
Against an egg. The egg or someone I know in person.
How do you think the series is going to go in Mexico this weekend? The Cardinals are taking on the Cincinnati Reds. This has been, what is this, the second or third year the Major League Baseball has done this series down in Mexico?
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. I don't think the Cardinals have been before. No. So it's kind of weird because you go so far into a place you'd never played for 2 games. So I mean, hopefully if you take one of 2, I say that's perfectly acceptable.
Does this as far as I've heard players? I don't know if I've heard any players complain. I don't think anyone's going to complain because you get to represent the St. Louis Cardinals in another country.
Yet?
But no, I'm curious as to do you think this will have any effect on travel in the next couple of weeks? Does this throw the players out of rhythm? These guys are used to having, this is kind of throwing them their season, I guess their travel a little bit out of whack.
Yeah, I think they'll be okay just because it's kind of different to have an off day on Friday too. I know that's kind of a new thing that they're going to have more often this year. And so they'll get the travel day today. And then, just a quick 2-gamer. Hopefully, I would say if anything, you hope that there's no residual just playing that next series in Milwaukee because it's going to be an important one. I think the Brewers right now are looking like cheap competition in the division. So I think it'll be fine long term. Interested to see how they perform in Milwaukee, not just because of the travel, but because of what we saw the first week of the season there when the Brewers just teed off on Cardinal pitching.
My main concern is that they got to get there.
Wait a second. You have yourself pulled up a video stream and all the sounds working?
Chris, don't mess this up.
What are you doing now?
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, boy.
Shafe gets it. Shafe gets it. There you go.
I was pointing. This is fun.
Travis, do your thing with the logo.
Yeah, hold on.
Other arm.
Yeah,
there you go. Okay.
I got it.
And then now treat Gardner's
I have
mic
trouble
like
with that too. It's like a mirror image. I can't do that in a mirror and know which arm is which.
Yeah, and I'm also an idiot, so that doesn't help.
Nope, doesn't.
Well,
my main concern is they got to get to Mexico and back, and we're in a national emergency. Doesn't that concern people?
That's a good point. Gardner came up with an interesting
border?
Well, Gardner came up with an interesting thing. What happens if the president just gets annoyed this weekend and says, "Screw it, shutting down the border, no one gets in, no one"? What do you think happens? Look, and because we broke it down all the way because
Jordan Hicks has a real attitude.
We're assuming that in some way, shape, or form that the owners of these 2 clubs have probably given either to this administration or the party of this administration. And Cincinnati, Ohio, of course, Ohio going for Trump in the last election, Missouri being a red state. Would the president risk his own base by shutting down the border this weekend, forcing the Cardinals and Reds to be stuck in Mexico?
Am I supposed to answer this like as seriously as possible? Or
You're supposed to answer this like a professional journalist.
Brendan, here's the deal.
That's good.
Travis wants you to basically chart out that season of Eastbound and Down where he was playing in the Mexican baseball league.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd love to see it. Would Cardinals Twitter ever be any better than that? All of us would lose all the followers we've ever had. It would be a bloodbath.
That's what I want.
How conflicted would some of the MAGA
so
faithful Cardinals fans be? Because they'd be like, "Well, you should have done your paper." Well,
would that be our social media Game of Thrones?
That would be social media Game of Thrones.
Brendan mentioned the bloodbath.
It would be an absolute
bloodbath of Game of Thrones. It would be a social media Game of Thrones for Cardinals Twitter.
Brendan, can you, just to throw it back for 8.5 seconds, can you reenact your face at the most surprised part of the Red Wedding?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's the face. That's
Audio
the face.
listeners, he's just crushed.
Because it just kept getting worse.
Yes.
Yeah, like, oh, well.
One of my tweets said, everybody's dying, and it's like I'd heard the term red wedding coming in, so I knew it would happen eventually, but this wedding was over. I was like, okay, we made it through this wedding. We're having a happy wedding, and then the Lannister song starts playing, and the door closes, and Arya's right outside. Oh, my gosh. that was the worst part, honestly, because I was like, finally, we're gonna get one of these siblings to see the rest of the family, somebody from the family, and it didn't happen. So yeah, that was brutal. Now,
That
yeah,
was
see, you're
brutal.
jogging my memory already. It's
Yeah,
been like
dude.
a whirlwind month. But that was so yeah, back to the death that hurt me bad. Like when they stabbed his wife. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh,
That's
Rochester,
horrible, right?
oh my gosh.
Isn't that brutal? That's when I
was just
realized that
wrong.
this show, like, but this, and I think that's the phenomenon to it all. Like, this show broke the conventional television rules. Like, the things that they did, like, we hadn't honestly seen on television, have we?
Not that I've ever seen. Like you've got main characters that you're assuming are going to be in it for, if they kill them off, it'll be 4 years from now.
Right.
Nope, it's today. And it was, and even at the end of it too, I'm like, oh well, Rob is still kind of standing, and there's his mom, so maybe.
So in your head,
no.
you're thinking, they're going to get out of this. Oh, they're not getting out of this.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bad.
I think there was
Bad.
an arc on Seventh Heaven that was
Oh, my
comparable at one point. Wouldn't you say?
Shape,
No.
I know you're a busy man.
Oh,
but
he's not busy. He's not gonna do. He's gonna sit around. He's gonna watch more Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's very true.
Well, he is
Probably
playing
at
hurt
this
today.
point-
Oh, you're playing Hurt
He
today?
is playing hurt.
You look great.
Yeah, I am. I had a tooth pulled yesterday, and
Again, our grandfathers built trains with one hand.
so
Tooth pull in 2019. Can't do nothing the next
Yeah.
day.
No, I told Gardner too. I'm like, oh, it'll be okay. Like, I feel better. He goes, well, let's just wait and see tonight how you feel. This was yesterday. I think I'll be okay. But anyway,
But you're in Texas now. Best part of Texas, worst part of Texas.
so best part, the weather in the winter when y'all had snow
Don't
and
say
ice
y'all.
every
Yeah,
other
did you just
week.
y'all
There
us?
we
That's
go.
well done, my
Um,
friend. Good play.
It just kind of slide it in there.
Next time he comes on, he's gonna have a bolo tie on.
Yeah. So that's the best part. The worst part definitely are the liquor laws in Texas. I don't know if you guys know this, but you cannot buy liquor at a grocery store. Like you
Oh,
can't
it
do
has to be
it.
a liquor store.
Like you go to Walmart,
really?
they don't
That's
have it.
annoying.
They've got beer, they've got wine,
But you can't
gotta
get the hard
specifically
stuff.
Correct. And worse than well, not worse than that, because that's pretty inconvenient if you want to get some liquor. On Sundays before noon, you just can't buy beer at all at the store. So, like,
there's more
Super Bowl-
control on liquor in Texas
Yeah.
than gun control.
That sounds about right. Yeah. Which I guess good not to mix the two, so they're at least
Yeah.
trying. But but if you wait till 12:01 on Sunday, then you can go. That kind of tripped us up during the Super
Yeah, that
Bowl
would
after
be
church. We
annoying.
went
Not
to-
having, not
couldn't
being
get
able to
it.
have access to alcohol on Sundays would be pretty annoying.
Yeah. And it's already like summer here too. It's like 90s, so that's not going to be fun. I don't think we'll make it long. We'll be back soon.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we look forward
Yeah.
to that. Brendan, any polls we need to keep an eye out for on Twitter? You delight us with those.
Yeah, Gardner yesterday, I was talking to him about this, and I said I haven't really done them yet. The inspiration hasn't struck lately, but I'll probably try to force something just now that we're talking about it and thinking about it. But I did see that Gardner has been getting a little bit fast and loose with his poll questions.
Mm.
I
What's the one
retweeted
today?
the one today because
Oh, you did.
Gardner's my friend, but
Okay.
I don't get it.
Neither
Yeah,
do
it's
we.
simple. Can you believe it? Yes or no? Can you believe it? It can mean a
I
lot
did
of
say
different
yes
things.
for what that's worth.
Just because it
But,
doesn't have a focus or, that narrowed down topic, let it speak to you. Let it be what you want it to be.
Jesus Christ. help
That
me.
is the poll. Can you believe it?
Can you believe
Can you
it?
believe I just said that about a poll?
That's true.
No, I would change my vote to no now
that's a good point.
because I can't believe I just described it that way.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I didn't expect that.
That's
That's why it
You guys can't
evolved.
get him off the screen, can you?
No.
No, we don't
It
have
won't
that
go
control.
away.
We don't have that control.
Follow Brendan on Shape.
And what do you have prepared for KMOV? You've been writing for them, of course. What can we expect from you in that regard, and where can people go to read it?
Yeah, so the last couple days haven't written anything, but throughout the season we'll be keeping up with Cardinal stuff. And the way I recommend you follow that is the Baseball STL app. You can get it wherever you get your app. It's free. It'll keep you up to date on all the Cardinals stuff, and that's where my stories go, as well as KMOV.com. And look at you guys, so fancy. My Twitter is on the screen, so if you don't know me there, you can.
Perfect.
You like that, Trav?
I love this guy. This is one of the hardest working individuals. I expect you to probably be on MLB Network here in the next 3 to 5 years. We'll make sure Gartner gets you through that front door. But congratulations on your success. Continue the great work, and I'm so happy that you're almost caught up on Game of Thrones.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. And by the way, I didn't get to tell you in person, but congratulations on your Sesame Street
Oh,
deal.
that is
That's
so
really
kind
cool.
of you, sir. I appreciate it. I cannot wait to leave Gardner and Chris.
I understand.
Schaefer, you want to be the new black dude on the show?
Good work. Good work.
I'm coming back, baby. I'm coming back to St. Louis.
We're gonna do a show every day with this little video blip of Travis in it. I'm really genuinely worried about it.
Yeah, well, that'll be interesting.
Thanks, Shafe.
See you guys.
Take
See
care,
ya,
brother.
buddy. Carte Blanching in his T-shirt from By Jack. You can get that Carte Blanche.
Look at that
t-shirt on the
technology.
By
You
Jack.
ain't getting that anywhere else, baby. The only place where you can get that kind of technology for your podcast is here at Midcoast Media.
Midcoast.media is the website. You know who helped us put the studio together?
Chris, tell me who.
Family-owned business, Tech Electronics, right here in St. Louis, Missouri. We just had somebody in the comments ask, like, you guys put a lot of time into the show. Do you make money from this? Yes, we're a business. That's right. We are live along with the Static Podcast, Mental Health Matters. The Soulardians are going to record in here tonight. Other podcasts coming, other projects. All of that made possible in the studio by Tech Electronics. We're very happy about that. All of our wonderful sponsors. I do need to remind people to support Gateway Powder Coating.
Gateway Powder Coating, yeah.
Gateway Powder Coating, fast, durable, affordable. Check out their website, gatewaypowdercoat.com. Say hello to Mark and the fellas. If you need touch-ups on your wheels, anything metal, if you can paint it, you can powder coat it. Gateway Powder Coating, supporter of We Are Live.
Before we get to Devil's Advocate, let's do a quick look at Game of Thrones characters of notable St. Louisans. Shafe is catching up. He's 12 episodes behind, meaning he's about almost a season and a half behind on where we're going to start this upcoming Sunday. But I thought it'd be cool to break down notable St. Louisans and compare them to Game of Thrones characters.
Your first submission.
My first submission is, of course, the mayor of St. Louis, one Lyda Crewson. Lyda Crewson. Now, Lyda is a little bit aloof. It feels like from time to time, like, yes, she's technically in charge, but doesn't really know what's going on with the day-to-day. And the character that reminded me of that was none other than Sansa Stark. She's like Sansa. She has.
Sansa's a...
You say, I agree.
What's that mean?
She a baddie. She is a baddie. Sansa, I'm curious to see her character arc this season because she's gone from someone who, again, very aloof,
princess,
very princess mentality, but now she's endured some horrible times and she's very, very cold, just like the upcoming winter.
Okay.
All right, next up. I believe I decided to, if we're going to do the mayor of the city of St. Louis, we had to do the county executive of St. Louis County. That is none other than Steve Stenger, currently going through a lot of controversy right now. I thought that Stenger reminded me, who did I have for Stenger? Was it, oh, yes,
Are you
Eddard
serious?
Stark.
Wow.
Yes,
Because
because,
the guy from National Treasure.
Oh, no.
because it's like his humility was his hubris. Like Stenger he tries to present himself as the anti-Charlie Dooley, and at the same time, he's still making the same political blunders that undermined his administration. So Stark,
Now, Ned Stark is widely considered he was the best of them, and he should be the one.
but
that should
he
still
was
be
but he
around.
was so blinded by this idea
By his
of
own-
honor that he did not do what was necessary
The
to protect
fact
his
that
family.
you see Ned Stark as problematic says a lot
No,
about
not
you.
problematic. I just look at Ned Stark as weak and why the Starks have been eviscerated throughout the seasons of Game of Thrones. Think about it. The guy decided to basically say that honor's going to win at the end of the day. When Cersei said
It
this,
still may.
Cersei said, look, Stop being a bitch. You gonna play or not? And he was like, well, I'm gonna use my honor. And guess what? Headed it up on a stake. And that's what's gonna end up having to Stanger if he doesn't figure out this federal investigation. All right, we decided to keep the ball rolling. Very world-class, notable attorney, Mr. Rosenblum.
Oh boy, he's the best in St.
He's
Louis.
the best in St. Louis. This guy, if you get in trouble with the law, this is the person you call in the St. Louis metro area.
He's a fixer.
He's a guy that takes care of business.
He's Saul, but up top, baby.
Yeah,
He'll get in the muck, but he always wins.
he's one of the most premier attorneys in all of the Midwest. I said he would be none other than Varys.
Ooh.
He's always working. He's like a little spider.
Yeah, he's got his little birdies.
And he moves in all circles. Have you noticed that about Rosenblum? Rosenblum just doesn't move in a particular circle. He moves in all. He knows where he's needed most, and that's everywhere. And that's Varys. Varys is a person who hasn't wielded a sword at any point throughout this series, but he still is standing. That is Rosenblum. Rosenblum, it was a couple years ago, got an issue with the St. Louis County Police Department. He had an alleged DUI. He was almost dead to rights. It looked like, man, one of the biggest attorneys in all of St. Louis was about to get.
He got hit.
He got hit, but he could have been worse. He basically did some Rosenblum magic and made sure that it wasn't. He flipped it.
He's fine.
He made it work for himself. So Varys, by the way, you would love this character on Game of Thrones, Gardner. He is about chaos. All he does is basically tries to find a way to instigate matters throughout all of King's Landing. You would love him. All right, who do we have next? We have finally, of course, St. Louis.
Finally.
No, not finally. But we do have an individual that's been in the news recently. Let's just say, how many was it? 36 counts?
Around that.
36 counts. An indictment by the federal government.
Man.
The other day, St. Louis, Parkway Central grad, Michael Avenatti. Michael Avenatti, who did I have for Michael Avenatti? Oh, I know.
I've got one for him.
Yes.
Wow.
Oberyn Martell.
Oh, really?
Why? Because he got arrogant. He took down the mountain. He was taking down the mountain that was Donald Trump, but he got arrogant. He got cocky. He got full of himself, and he ended up getting his head completely crushed by the United States federal government. In this particular case, the mountain actually, Gardner, like this big guy about the size of this entire room, puts his two hands around his head.
The mountain is a guy?
Yeah, the mountain's a guy. The mountain then forces his thumbs inside this guy's eyes, and he goes all the way through his skull, where it cracks his skull and his skull explodes on TV.
Why would he push his thumbs into the eyes? That's what I would want the effect of just crushing the skull with the eyes popping out.
Well, that could have worked as
It
well.
happened to one of my cats.
Completely agree with Jamie Moyer's Fancy Foyer. I think Avenetti's Littlefinger for sure.
Littlefinger did get caught up too at the end too,
And he was always pushing.
Littlefinger's a fair one. Now that's a good one as well, because Littlefinger was pushing, and then got himself into some trouble.
You got another one here.
I do have another one. Notable president of baseball operations, John Mozeliak. Now, I'm glad you brought that up.
Thanks. Hey, what about Mozeliak?
John Mozeliak reminds me of none other than Littlefinger. You just mentioned Littlefinger.
Okay.
John
I'll
Mozeliak.
hear you out.
Well, John Mozeliak was very good. He moves the pieces. He always has a plan. You may not agree with it. You may not even see the full picture, but it generally works out for him because he's 3 steps ahead almost every time. Everyone's like, I don't know if this Goldschmidt deal is going to work unless you sign him for long term.
Extrapolating that is up to you.
He got a long-term deal. I don't know, man, about this Miles Michaelis, man. I'm not sure if that's the play.
Having said that,
Miles Michaelis worked out for the Cardinals in 2018. I don't know, man. This Mike Schilt guy, I'm not sure if he's the one for the Cardinals.
I think that's an odd statement, first off, and maybe not even accurate.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't.
But anytime you follow with first off.
But yes, I just think John Mozeliak is a guy that has done a very impressive job of making things work behind the scenes. Look, I give him a hard time, and rightfully so, especially considering the Cardinals I thought the Harper signing could have still have happened, but I understand what he has and what he's working with. He does very well, and certainly over the last, what we can say, 6-7 seasons, even when the Cardinals haven't made the playoffs, they haven't been bad.
That's true.
They haven't been like, a lot of teams there are a lot of teams who we talked about this before on the radio show, where a lot of organizations have to go through a major rebuild, meaning 2-3 seasons of terrible, terrible baseball. We haven't had that here. And I don't know too many teams in any sport can legitimately say, I think there may be the San Antonio Spurs. I don't know. Can you name any other professional sports organization the Patriots, of course, but the Cardinals, even when they're not making the playoffs, they're not a terrible team. And you have to give credit where credit is due, and that's John Mozeliak.
How about from the comments? Black Sheep says Ramsey is Greitens.
Definitely.
Jamie Moyer's Fancy Four says Howley is Joffrey.
Ooh.
Kind of a spoiled little fella.
Spoiled brat, just being a complete
What about
jerk to
no,
everyone.
Holly grew up on a farm. He's a farm boy.
That's true.
He's got a flatbed truck trailer, something like that.
Night King is Stan Kroenke from the Fancy Four.
Yes. Fancy
that
Foyer.
accurate?
Oh, yeah, that's
It's like you
I
just
don't know
You
if
don't
these
know
are
how
accurate.
you're going to beat him. Like you don't know.
it's just the force
It's
that
just everything. You're just like,
nothing you do is good. It's ever going to be able to
and
stop
everybody's
them.
basically forced to join him.
Yeah, essentially. I'm telling you, Gardner, and I know we've kind of spoiled a few things for you, but we truly mean it. This is your kind of show because it does take. It has a little magic, has a little zombie, has a lot of sex,
Magic
a lot of
Johnson?
blood. Not Magic Johnson specifically.
No, you
that
would
would've
like
been
the
a cool episode.
gamesmanship of it.
You
There's
would
a lot
like
of
the-
deceit, a lot of craziness going on, a lot of things that get paid off
And then
3
there are-
years after they happen.
And then there are a couple characters that just say things that I know you would relate to. Like there's a character named Ron that I'm absolutely certain you would love because he just says things that are just brutally honest. And you would love him to death. So
His
I'm
name's Ron.
Braun.
Oh, Braun.
He's a badass swordsman who just has a smart ass mouth and doesn't care whether you're royalty or not because he's a badass swordsman. And that's the name of the game. You need badass people in your circle, and he's that guy, so he kind of gets away with being able to say rude things to people because he could easily kill you.
Because they can't do anything about it.
Yeah. And then there's the Hound. The Hound says things that you would absolutely
Is that a
love.
dog?
No, the Hound the Hound is actually the brother of the Mountain we were just talking about earlier.
Who named them?
Exactly. But this is what you're missing.
Are there parents in the show?
They are not. But they both have incredible, intense backstories. That
The
will,
Mountain is big, I assume.
yes, he is massive. He in real life, he
Does the
is one of
Hound
the
bite?
world's strongest men. He's actually one of
Do you
the
know
world's
what
strongest
his real
men.
name is?
It's like isn't he Swedish?
yeah,
I think he
yeah,
wanted. I want to say
whatever. Wherever there's strong men are really
what's
good.
a strong man? What, Magnus Magnuson?
Yeah, like
You're
the people
remembering
who-
ESPN2 at
Yes.
3 in the morning.
Oh
in
yeah,
1997.
watching the guys
Well,
pull
certainly
the
am.
747s. I don't know. Does ESPN still do those?
I don't know.
They should certainly bring that back. Those
You know,
things were
Rammer
addictive.
used to do play-by-play for the fireman challenges.
Really?
Yeah, on ESPN.
We should do that, by the
They
way.
were like
Make that a
flying down
trivia.
to, I think, Disney.
A smoking performance for Dan Smith.
That's really good. He's on fire, and now it's out.
Uh-huh. What about this? This is cheating, but Card's best move was hiring their soft tissue specialist. That's really specific. This is from a guy named Jeff.
Oh boy.
Have a good weekend. Big tilt in Mexico. And yes, there's snow on the ground the day the Cards leave for Mexico. He's traveling with the team. Says
Snow
that.
in Mexico?
I don't know, I guess.
Okay.
Or wherever they're flying out of.
Where would they'd be flying out of Atlanta or Dallas?
Oh, could be.
I don't know.
So maybe Atlanta?
Oh, Atlanta doesn't handle that well.
They do not. That's interesting.
I've
I'm
seen
a-
that video before.
Yeah, we've done Mexico a couple of times. It's you're either flying out of Dallas or you're flying out of Atlanta generally.
Just everyone get back. Everyone get back.
Can I
National
throw one more
emergency.
St. Louis name out there that we could compare?
Yeah.
Tommy Bannister. I compare him to Jon Snow.
Oh wow! Because
You know why? Because he'll lead you to where you need to go in the game of real estate thrones.
Oh boy.
Tommy Bannister's here to help.
Oh no.
Circa Properties.
Oh God. Jesus! Somebody help him.
Tommy Bannister,
Oh.
Circa Properties.
Oh no.
Drop him a line when it's time to buy or sell your home right here in the St. Louis area. He's a great supporter of We Are Live. Thank you.
Can I do that again? Can I try that myself?
Hang on. and to pay that off, Jeff was in Winnipeg last night with the Blues, and then now he's going. Okay.
Ah.
Gotcha.
Got it,
Okay,
got
makes
it, got
more
it.
sense. You could have gone, while winter is coming to the landing, summer is coming to real estate sales in the St. Louis metro area. It's time for you to stop dragging and get out there and choose a home for you and your house.
And you're gonna
Wait,
need
wait,
you're
wait.
gonna need an expert.
Damn it.
You're
Is
gonna
House-
need somebody to walk you through it. It's Tommy Bannister from Circle
Is
Property.
House another brother of Mountain and Hound?
It's
No.
getting
No.
complicated.
That's not how that
Did you
works.
say dragon?
Yeah, there are dragons in this bad boy.
Dragon D's nuts cross
Oh,
your face.
no, that wasn't even. Don't laugh. Don't laugh.
Yeah.
Stop laughing. Stop it. Stop laughing. Don't encourage. No. No.
Oh, nuts.
No.
Oh, D's nuts.
Oh, no.
Ah.
Don't encourage that.
Oh. How'd that feel, Travis?
It didn't feel good.
It won't feel good either when I'm doing
Oh.
that.
Oh, no. Are you happy?
We got Fair or Foul coming up. Get those in, everybody. Yeah, WAL at weareliveradio.com. Topic today, Kim Kardashian becoming a lawyer. You can win $10 to Buzz's Hawaiian Grill. Anything we need to get to before we go to Fair or Foul?
Real quick, let's check in on Black Twitter.
Okay.
Oh, hey.
Black Twitter is it's gone through a lot lately. A lot's going on.
What's
in Black
happened?
Twitter. Of course, yesterday you had the Nipsey Hussle funeral that was live on BET. That was tough.
Black Twitter is out of control.
But Black Twitter still finds a way to put a smile on your face, even in the toughest of times. And yesterday was that day as well. And I kind of bombarded Gardner with a bunch of tweets, but they just immediately stood out and they had me with tears in my eyes. And I needed it. I think we all needed it after a long week. And I wanted to share it with you fine folks because it's Friday and I think you would need it as well heading into the weekend.
Can you speak freely? So I have a question. When you sleep with a woman, okay, when you sleep with a woman, a dude told me that some women's private parts are warmer than other women's private parts. Is that true? I don't know a lot about sex. But he said that, and I was trying to be cool, but I was like, I have to be honest. I don't have that much sexual experience, so I don't know if that's even a true statement. Is that true? Like say you slept with me and you slept with Kim. Could my private area be warmer on the inside? Is that true?
That poor girl. The tweet was, I'm never asking my boss for a ride again. And this young lady was sitting in the passenger seat as her boss is just having this very forward, confusing, awkward conversation while she has to sit there and listen.
She was a curious woman.
Oh, I love her reaction because her reaction was all of ours. Like, what the? Huh? What is happening? And this is the beauty about social media. We've all had similar interactions, but we've never been able to actually adequately explain it to people. So to be able to have the tape and see that is just
When things like that happen, I look around for like candid camera crews and stuff. I'm like, all right, where are you? Come out. Ashton Kutcher going to jump out of here?
I don't have a ton of sex, but is a woman's private parts different than another woman? What is happening? All right, and then there was one more tweet. Was that it? Or am I out of tweets? I'm out of tweets?
You're out of
okay,
tweets.
I'm out of tweets. Okay. But
Sorry.
Well, guys, it's been a fun week. The show doesn't stop just yet. We're going to have a conversation with Tim Meadows. He's at Funny Bone all weekend long. You know Tim Meadows from Saturday Night Live. Had a great spot on The Office. He's been in a million different things. We'll talk to him at 10:30, and then star of another million things, Tone Bell, who's at Helium, all weekend long. We'll talk to him at 12:30. Travis, we've got Fair or Foul. You ready for this?
It's time for the people's fair or foul.
At this defining moment, change has come to America.
People often ask me, what's fair or foul? Is it a segment? Is it a movement? Is it hope?
A little bit of everything.
I can't say for certain. Time will be a true test of its power. But I can say, fair or foul is now and forever for the people. Gather around the radio with your loved ones and hold on to your butts. It's now time for fair.
We give it back to you, the people.
Or foul.
It's what Brendan Schaefer would call this segment. Howdy, boys. Because he's in Texas. He's in Texas.
Feel good about that. Do we want to check our poll real quick before we jump in?
This was a big question. Gardner has had a hell of a week when it has come to poll questions. But this one, I think he truly outdid himself. Gardner, can you remind the audience, your walnuts, what the question was about?
Well, it was a complicated question.
Very deep question.
Can you believe it?
And what were our options?
Yes or no?
Okay. What are the results?
The results are 51% to 49%.
Uh-oh. It's a close one.
No.
Wow.
Can't believe it.
People
Nobody
can't
can
believe
believe
it.
it.
People
They
can't
can't
believe it.
believe it.
I don't know why. It's right there.
believe it.
It's right there. I don't know why you wouldn't believe it.
Mind blowing, maybe.
It's a powerful poll.
Kind of. What would you get from me?
Delightful. That's interesting. All right, Chris, you ready for the emails?
Yeah, we asked you about Kim Kardashian becoming a lawyer. Winner gets $10 to Buzz's Hawaiian Grill.
All right, what do we got?
Foul. Who wouldn't want a lawyer who confuses the legal term affidavit with alpha David and then says, oh yeah, we were together for a little while after Ray J, but before Chris Humphries. That said, I'm optimistic that she will partner with Attorney General Barr and do some good work for,
Yes.
for Brothers Against Road Rage.
Oh, no. No.
It's not like she has a track record of bailing on brothers at the first sign of adversity.
Oh.
The JVL Jackal.
I knew that was
JVL
JVL.
Jackals. He really, man, he taps into it. He taps into it.
Just like Ray J. Taps into it. Fair. Bet if she was prosecuting the Scopes monkey trial, Clarence Darrow would have met his match. Also, right after she says, I rest my case, Your Honor, she takes 2 steps. With each step, her butt cheeks make the Law and Order sound. Mesmerizing.
Nice.
TT's pink eye.
That's good.
I like that. Fair. Kim K becoming a lawyer is exactly like Kelly Kapoor in the executive training program.
Oh, yes.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm like really smart, you guys. You don't even know. Prosecutor could be like, objection! And I'd be like, blah, 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 blah. Overruled. She thick, though. Jamie Moyer's fancy for her. Fair. If Kylie Jenner can be a billionaire businesswoman, Kim can be a lawyer.
This is true.
That's the mayor of Colorado. I didn't even know Colorado had mayors.
I don't.
Who wins $10 to Buzz's Hawaiian Grill? Chris Gardner.
I got to go with JVL again today.
Wow.
A fancy for you.
The Fancy Foyer has won $10
Ooh, Upset City!
to Buzz's Hawaiian Grill. Good stuff all around. Hey, we're not leaving just yet. Big thanks to all of our sponsors.
No, we are leaving. We'll just come back. I ain't going to just sit around with y'all for another 30 minutes. What the hell is this? This ain't an extended hour. This ain't
10:30.
This ain't Sports Plus Plus.
10:30. Tune in. We're going to talk to the great Tim Meadows. 12:30, Tone Bell. Check it out, guys. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Hit share on the stream. Organic growth. We'll be back in a few with Tim Meadows and everybody else, but this week's been a lot of fun. Trav, want to say your thing that you do?
Peace!